Good morning. It's Saturday morning, August 24th, and we are going to talk today about lunches in lieu of going back to school, of the new season, of people going back to work, if you're a teacher. So we're going to talk a lot about lunches. But we're going to say that this call is being sponsored by Morning Meltdown 100. My calendar's on the floor. I can't get it. I know a lot of you guys already started it, but oh, thanks guys. Look at this. We got helpers. Woo! I start it tomorrow, so I'm really, really excited about that. And for those of you who did already start it, way to go. Awesome job. I want you in this chat, in this call, to open up your chat on your phone if you can find it. I think you swipe right, go to I forget what it says, but find the chat section on your phone in this thing. And throughout this call, I want you to be able to participate, give suggestions, ask questions, and answer my questions. My first question is, are you already doing Morning Meltdown 100, and what day are you on? So I want to see that you guys actually can find the chat, so answer that. Throw it below. If you're in Destiny United right now, watching this on the replay, put watching on the replay so we know if you're watching this, or if you're in Better Together community or any of the other communities that this might be going into. Comment below and tell me if you're watching the replay or if you were on live. All right, so we got, yes, I'm on day 8. Good job. What is this, Mrs. K's? Mrs. K? What does that say, Mrs. K? I can't hear you. It's all right. Don't worry about it. We'll have to unmute you later and figure out what that it says. Colleen, Morning Meltdown 100, day 27. Sweet. Catherine, 27. Awesome. Amy just says, heck yes. I guess she doesn't know how to follow rules. Look at her face. Love you. Okay, so today we're going to talk all about lunches and being prepared for the week. So I'm going to give you a couple tips, a couple suggestions. My job is to make sure that you know what's available, because there's so much available in Beachbody world, so much, that it can be overwhelming sometimes. By the way, overwhelm is a choice, so don't let yourself be overwhelmed. Just figure it out. Take a step back if it's too much at first and call somebody and ask them. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you some resources to creating your lunches ahead of time. Now, this is kind of weird for me because I'm home during the day and my lunches literally consist of leftovers from dinner the night prior or whatever the heck I pull out of the refrigerator that fits into my container count. So I personally don't prep or think ahead about my lunches. So if you're home and you do the same thing, there are a couple things I do. I said do. And to make sure that there's always something in my fridge. A, I always have eggs in my fridge as the backup of proteins, right? B, I always make sure that I have leftovers from the night prior or before that, because my family are snobs and they won't eat the leftovers, so that's my job. I also make sure that I have stuff in the pantry. This is very, I never even get to this point, but I always make sure I have tuna fish or something canned in for a protein in the pantry that I don't have to cook. Frozen veggies are always in my veggie drawer. Things like rice, cauliflower, green beans, broccoli, things that I will eat. These are all backup plan, right? If I really don't have anything prepared and I'm really running late on everything and last minute, because that seems to be my theme once in a while, I make sure that there's stuff in the fridge. So this is my emergency stuff. I also always buy a rotisserie chicken, 1 or 2, in the beginning of the week that I can just pull off for proteins also. And lastly, I always have 2% what am I thinking? Greek yogurt in the fridge in case I need that too. These are things the Greek yogurt, the tuna fish, literally I never eat them, but they're there if I really need them, and the kids will eat them if I don't. Okay, so those are just backup plan proteins. Veggies always back up in the freezer because they never go bad. So I always have like cauliflower rice, something that I can just like whip up really, really quick. Cauliflower rice, frozen green beans, things that I like. Those might not be things that you like, but just make sure you have a backup plan, right? Now, if you're working the things that I'm saying, depending on your work area, if you have access to a freezer, you can put those things in your work freezer also. But if you don't have access to the freezer, we're going to talk about that next. Okay, so like I said, this is kind of like I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone talking about this, okay? But because this is something else I want to show you, because we are part of Beachbody and Beachbody has amazing resources, you can talk to people about other things that you don't normally do because you have the resources for them, right? And that's what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to share my screen here. My question to you guys is, how many people in this group that we're talking to right now comment in the chat and tell me, do you work outside of the home, or like, are you outside of the home for lunch, or are you usually home for lunch? That's my question. So home for lunch or outside for lunch, like at work or somewhere else, something that you might have to prepare ahead of time for your lunches. Not saying that you shouldn't prepare ahead of time if you're home also, but just tell me if you're home. Oh, I love it. Tell me if you're home or if you're at the office. We have office, home, both. Okay, cool. So I think here's the deal. Sometimes we like put everybody in a little bubble, but honestly, you could be somebody who stays home but needs to have all of their lunches prepped ahead of time for them to stay on track. Ooh, somebody's drawing on the screen for us. Or you know, like you need to prepare ahead of time even when you are home. Can you go get April and get her to help? Say, can you please come get Chase? Thank you. Okay, I'm like, yes, go get April. Close the gate to the hallway. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Close the gate to the hallway and keep my door open and close the other doors. Thank you. Okay, sorry. All right, so, and then you might be someone at work who doesn't have to prepare ahead of time because you have a full kitchen there and you just put stuff in the freezer. So either way, it doesn't matter whether you're home or at work or go to work, because these tips are for everybody. So if you go to Beachbody blog, one thing I noticed is that you can just type in the word lunch and you'll come up with tons of suggestions. But I'm going to help you siphon through them, because here's what I realized. If I don't keep things incredibly simple, like so simple, I won't do them, right? If it's just even the slightest bit complicated, I won't do it. I love watching Amy, and Amy's gonna be like, what? Yeah, I love watching Amy do meal prep because she is like I love it. She's like, and here's my chicken, and she just puts chicken breast on a pan and puts it in the oven and cooks it. And like, that's her chicken for the week. Like, make things as simple as you need them to be, okay? I personally, I don't do a lot of food prep. I buy rotisserie chickens. Like, I never cook chicken ahead of time. I just buy the rotisserie chicken and use that, okay? So do what you have to do to make it simple. Now, that being in mind, when you go through these, like I'm just looking at this picture right now where it says 21-day fix lunch recipes. Those recipes right there, a lot of them look like I would never even make them for lunch. Hold on a second. Hey, you, stop the noises and please leave the room. Thank you. Why? Because you're making too many noises. If you're absolutely quiet, you can stay in here. Thank you. Okay, so like those little sandwiches, I would never, ever make that ahead of time. I would never make most of this ahead of time. But I'm not going to totally judge it first. I'm going to go into it and look at it. And while I'm doing this, I'm really asking myself, okay, yeah, it looks good, but am I going to prep that? Am I really going to make that for this week? Because I'm personally known for like big, huge aspirations and then not do it. And I end up wasting a lot of food that way because I'll buy everything and then not make it. So really look at it and make sure that it's something that you'll definitely eat. These actually look pretty simple, because you can just make a huge amount of quinoa and you can cut up all those veggies and you can put it in containers and then wrap the thing in the morning. So that might be something worthwhile. These look a little worthwhile. So really get to know yourself and look and see if it's something that you'll truly make. This might not be a possibility for a lot of people because Do you have time to toast like a sandwich in the afternoon? I actually might have the time, but I still might not do it. Turkey burgers, great option because you can make them ahead of time or buy frozen ones. Same with chicken. Cooper, stop the noises. Thank you. Okay, so those are other ideas. So go back into here and look up the word lunch and look up these things. Now here's another thing that keeping it super, super simple. Pick only 1 or 2 recipes for the week. That's it. Do not overdo it, especially if you're first starting one of these meal plans. If you're doing 2B Mindset or you're doing 21 Day Fix or Ultimate Portion Fix and you're just new to like meal planning, don't complicate it. Don't give yourself 3 or 2 or 4 different lunches every day of the week. Pick 1 or 2 and repeat them throughout the week. I personally usually do 1 or leftovers. So like I said, I'll have like 1 or 2 options. Sorry, he's making so many noises, it's driving me nuts. Okay, so make it super simple. This one, healthy lunch recipes to meal prep. I love watching Kaylee meal prep because she makes a ton of ball jar salads. I personally don't make them, but this is 2 different ways of doing it. If I find a salad recipe I love, I personally will put them in containers of the food. So like almost like 1 container of beans, 1 container of chopped onions, 1 container of tomatoes. And then the day I make the salad, I just pull from the containers. Kaylee does it differently. She preps everything ahead of time into ball jar salads. So she stacks them all up in ball jars, and she's always on the go. So she will just grab her ball jar before she leaves the house, whether she's going to a park or going to take her kids somewhere or whatever. She just grabs the ball jar before she leaves and leaves with that. That works really, really well for her. Okay, so you have to decide which one is going to work for you. And if you start with 1 and then switch it 2 weeks in, that's not a big deal. You're testing out what works for you. So don't be afraid to fail. And when it does, when you are like switching it, don't be mad at yourself for something that didn't work. Just constantly try to tweak it to find what works really, really well for you. Okay, 5 lunches to make with portion control containers. This one was actually a pretty good one. I saw 10 tempting meal prep lunches to take to work. I really liked that one because it's all about prepping ahead of time and having it done. So you can just see these different options. Don't be afraid to use the blog. The blog has amazing, amazing information in it. But know to keep it super, super simple. Only pick 1 to 2 things a week. Keep it incredibly simple. And make sure it's a recipe that you know you'll actually do. Like if it has 10 ingredients and that's not you, you might want to switch it up, right? Because if it's too complicated, you're not going to do it. And then over time, you can try different things, like 1 new thing a week. But just try to keep it so simple that it's foolproof. On the flip side, instead of looking at these, if you already know you like something, you might want to just stick with something that you like all week and plan different dinners. So like try to make lunch as super, super simple as possible. Kaylee said stay-at-home mom who doesn't stay at home out yet. So like Kaylee is somebody, she's on the go all the time. So she is a stay-at-home mom, but she's never home, ever. She's always in her car. She's always driving something. She lives like a very colorful, wonderful life. So she needs to have something prepped ahead of time. Okay, so that is that. Let me stop screen sharing. I wonder where he gets his noises from. Why can't I stop screen sharing? Hold on a second. I'll find it. There it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. There it is. Okay. Awesome. All right. So other topic I want to talk about real quick. What happens? So that's about meal, like planning ahead of time, prepping ahead of time. But what happens if you're not planned ahead of time and you're not prepped? And you were gone all weekend long and you didn't stick to your schedule of planning ahead, what happens then? So last minute changes, or if you're at work and people are like, we're ordering lunch, and you're like, damn, I want a free lunch, and you want to know what you're going to order. So this is what you do in that case, or you're going out with friends or whatever. Number 1, always, always, always look up the menu before you go. This keeps me like literally intact, on track all the time. My husband is a salesman and he takes people out to eat, like wines and dines them for dinner, and sometimes I go with him, right? It is so easy to over order or get more than you should or order the wrong stuff when someone else is paying for it, right? So here's the deal. First thing, get that mindset right. Just because someone else is paying for it does not mean you need to go overboard, right? You should be grateful for them paying for it, super grateful, and respect yourself to order something appropriate, something that's gonna be in line with your goals. Oh my gosh, that baby is like the most adorable thing and I can't even concentrate. um, so really respect yourself and look at the menu ahead of time. If you look at the menu ahead of time, I'll pop it on my phone even if I'm like on my way there, or even if I'm waiting to get seated. I'll pull it up on my phone and I'll figure out what I'm going to eat before I sit down. Because the moment you sit down and open up that menu, you're screwed. Like, I mean, you can still do it, but you start ordering with your eyes and it ends up being bad. So prep yourself ahead of time. I'm going to say no thank you to the bread basket. Okay, I'm going to order this and I'm going to make these modifications to it to make sure it fits. So if you're on 2B mindset and you shouldn't be eating any FCCs at dinner, then you need to look at the side menu and figure out what vegetables you can order. The other thing is you should always feel comfortable asking what they have. Like, here's the deal. If I'm going through a menu and I don't see, like, say I want Brussels sprouts. I'm just using that as an example. And Brussels sprouts are not on the side menu, but it is in some of the meals. Like it might say filet served with crispy Brussels sprouts or whatever, right? But it's not in the side menu. Well, you already know they have Brussels sprouts. So just ask the waitress, do you think you can make Brussels sprouts that aren't deep fried? And they'll most likely say yes, depending on where you are. Or they'll ask the chef. Either way, they have no problem making accommodations for you. They're used to this. Trust me. People come in with allergies. People come in who have had gastric bypass. People come in with all kinds of medical conditions. They have to make sure that they're giving them the proper food. Never be afraid to ask if they have something that you don't see, okay? So if you're, like I said, on 2B mindset, you can't have FCCs and that's for dinner, then you make sure that you double up your veggies. If it's lunch, which is what we're talking about, and you don't see an FCC, like say they have French fries and something that's fried and you can't find a good FCC, ask them, do you have baked potatoes? Can I have a baked potato without the stuff on it? Or can you put the stuff on the side? One or the other, right? So these are all options that they're used to being asked all the time. So don't be afraid. Secondly, so that's if like somebody is taking you out to lunch or they're ordering in whatever. Just make sure you look at the menu, order appropriately. If it's, here's another one, Jesse, my husband gets this all the time. If they're doing pizza at work, right? What do you do then? You look at the menu of the place that they have the pizza and ask them to order you a salad. Hey, I can't have the pizza, whatever, or just say something about not being able to have the pizza. I'm lactose intolerant. Say something. And then ask them if they can order you a specific salad. Do you mind if I get the grilled chicken salad? So like just ask them if they can order you a salad. They're ordering from the same place. So it's not a big deal, right? Just ask for modifications. Okay. Secondly, if you're ill-prepared and not ready, what do you do for lunch? And you're out and about and you need something. Try not to go to fast food. That's always a good one. If you stop at a grocery store, they usually have food already made that you can piecemeal. So like I said, rotisserie chicken is always my like go-to because it's easy. You can just grab it. Frozen veggies, easy, grab it. Usually grocery stores have salad bars. You can usually get hard-boiled eggs. You can get the salad. You can get your orange container. You can get your blue container. Like pretty simple going to a grocery store. They usually are packed with stuff like that. If you can't get to a grocery store, which is not usually likely, but if you can't get to a grocery store and there's like a Wawa around, they usually have really good things too. They have little containers of hummus and carrots and celery that are already portioned out for you. Like that little hummus container is usually a blue container. So those are already portioned out. They have hard-boiled eggs. They have They might have yogurts, but they're usually flavored with fruit and sugars, so that's not the best yogurt to get. So really read the ingredients when you go out. Colleen said she misses Wawa. Yeah, because Wawa is really awesome. Don't go to the deli, to the like hoagie section of Wawa, right? Some people have like a habit. Oh, Wawa, let me go get a hoagie. Don't get a hoagie. Go to the already prepared stuff for you. So lots of different options there. But never feel like you are like, oh, well, I'm not prepared, so I have to go have a burger at McDonald's. Like that's not true. You don't have to. So you got to get that out of your head, okay? You have options. Most of us here, I'm assuming, live near towns, right? Like it's not like you're out in the boonies and don't have options. Like you probably are near something to get something that fits your plan. So be resourceful. And that all starts with mindset. Just know that you're never going to be stuck, right? And then drink your water, because anytime you're going out to eat or getting something that's not like prepared at home, it probably has a ton of sodium in it. And so drink your water, okay? Because that'll help a ton. I think that was all of my tips, I think. If you're doing Morning Meltdown 100, make sure you go through here. There's awesome recipes in here that you can check out for your lunches. Another thing, if you're home, I found this week that I like making frittatas ahead of time because they're super, super, super simple and easy to make, really quick. Whip up the stuff, put it in a thing, bake it, you're good. And then you can just portion it out. So those are my nuggets for this week. I said nuggets, but the kids want chicken nuggets and French fries. If you're going out, by the way, and you're getting your kids chicken nuggets and French fries, order something that you can have. Get a salad and customize it to you, okay? And I don't know how to say it. Your kids like might want chicken fingers and French fries, but it's not like completely necessary. So make that a treat for them once in a while and commit to eating at home. It usually helps. Okay, so any questions, you can unmute yourself. I hope you got something out of this. Drop a message below. Tell me if you got anything out of it. I'm going to go try to get the blood off of me from my toddler. Can you hear them in the background? I'm going to stop recording.